Welcome to Crossing Cultures,
Crossing
the podcast.
cultures.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Crossing making changes, new ranges, crossing cultures.
Welcome to another episode of Crossing Cultures,
Crossing
the podcast that is
cultures.
based in Qatar. I am Keisha, your host, and today I'm joined by Yvonne, who I will allow to introduce herself. She's an amazing, influential person that's based here in Qatar, and I'm really looking forward to you guys hearing a little bit about her journey. So, welcome, Yvonne. Welcome
Hello.
to the podcast.
Nice to
welcome,
be here.
welcome.
Thank you.
So, first question is the start of your journey and what brought you to Qatar, and what were the first impressions of living here as an expat, a newbie? Yes.
Okay, so what brought me to Qatar? So what brought me to Qatar was actually a job. So I'm a British qualified lawyer. I qualified in the UK. And when I qualified, I always wanted to live overseas and be in the sun and just do something a bit different. So I worked in the UK for 3 years after qualifying, and then an opportunity came up here in Qatar. I was originally looking at Dubai because I'd kind of seen a lot of friends that had moved there. But I sort of, started to expand my options and see what other countries are out there. And then Qatar was kind of another option that I thought, oh, maybe this could suit me.
Yeah.
So that was it.
And how long have you been here for now?
It's just gone over a year. So I moved last September and now we're in October, yeah.
Okay. And how do you find it? Because I know I admire the fact that people come over here. You've never travelled here before prior to moving. I'm crazy, but very adventurous. And, to be fair, this is the right country to make that kind of move, because it's so easy. Yeah. I think it's easy to adapt, but some people might find it more challenging based on if you've experienced the traveling and stuff like that. So can you think about your first week being in Qatar?
Yeah.
Or let's go back to first month. What were some of the challenges that you faced in the first month on a personal note?
So I think I'd been here just once before for the final interview, but that was only a few days. So I was loved it, amazing, this is a perfect place. Anyway, in the first month, I think I was still filled with adrenaline, thinking this was a holiday. So I think the challenges actually came probably from month 2 to month 6, when it's kind of not really a holiday anymore and you're settling in. And I think the main challenge was friends for me, because I guess had moved on my own, and it wasn't I think maybe if you move as kind of a teacher, there's quite a few of you that kind of move together, but actually I'd moved by myself. So the first challenge was kind of friends. And then second, just kind of maybe navigating things but by myself, I don't know how to get from here to here, or where to buy this and where to buy that. So those were kind of the two main challenges. But I think the thing I struggled with the most was definitely having a social network. And then the working culture as well is very different to the UK.
Right.
I think the legal system in the UK is a lot more rigid and a lot stricter, whereas here it probably isn't as rigid, and there's a lot of things that you kind of have to figure out for yourself. So I feel that was also a challenge at the beginning.
Right. Okay. Well done for navigating through it. Do you think that now you're starting to find your tribe here?
Oh yeah, I feel when I passed the 7-month mark, I was fine, but the first 6 months is a character building experience.
Yeah.
And I feel it was not easy at all. And I never wanted to go home, but I definitely thought, when does this get easier? And I think it just takes a while to settle in and to just kind of adjust to how things are done.
Yeah.
And I think that beginning part was a rocky road.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you feel that the industry that you're in, so law here, do you think it's more intense here or more intense in the UK?
I think my role here has been more intense in the UK, but that could be due to lots of different factors. I'm the only lawyer based here, whereas in the UK there was 7 lawyers in the team, so it could be due to that. It could also be due to maybe in the UK there's a bit more process, so maybe I found it more intense here because I'm kind of having to figure out my own process. For me it's been more intense this side of the world compared to the UK.
That's interesting, because I think a lot of people think that you come here because it's easier.
Not for my role.
Not for and I think some teachers will say that too. I think it all depends on the company you're working for, the school you're in. Everything brings its own different unique experiences. I think sometimes it's a stereotype to think that you run to the Middle East because it's easier. It's just the lifestyle is obviously very different.
Yeah, agreed.
So how do you then balance the workload and still find time for yourself?
In the beginning, there was no balance. I think it was like work, and I really kind of like prioritized that and sort of, I don't want to say lost myself a little bit, but started to forget the things that I enjoy because you're just kind of like so into work. But now, once you kind of understand how it all works and you've like settled into the job, it's a lot easier to balance. It's a lot like, you know what you're doing, you know how to kind of like manage your time. I think at the end of the day, there's always going to be work tomorrow. So you kind of, you know, if it gets to a certain time, it can probably wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
You don't kind of stress yourself out maybe the way that you used to. For me, I need to exercise in the morning. It probably isn't going to happen after work when I'm tired. So that's kind of like my non-negotiable to exercise in the morning. I feel like I'll always make time for like friends in the week. So that and also on the weekend, so that I don't kind of feel like, oh, I've just worked and I've like not done anything. I do plan in advance all the time. You'll probably notice that. I'm free 15, 16, 17.
You're very good at that.
Yeah. And I feel like I have to do that. Otherwise, I kind of like might just lose track of time. Then I don't have time to see everyone and things like that. So just having to be very like organised.
Yeah.
And then, always like make time for get your nails done, get your hair done, get a massage.
Yeah. And you spoke about, obviously, you're in the field of law. So in terms of, was you doing exactly the same role in the UK?
Completely different. So my background is commercial law, and I was working for like a TV distribution company. So essentially they distribute TV content to like different platforms. And here I'm in sort of the oil and gas industry. So it's completely different, but the base of commercial law is all the same. But that again has been like, I've had to adapt. I've had to learn more about that industry. I've had to learn how things work. The business structure is completely different. So that could be another reason why it's also been like an additional challenge. Yeah.
Oh, bless you. But you're doing it and you're doing it.
Yeah, and I think once you push past that mark, well, I feel like if something doesn't challenge you, you don't grow anyway.
Yeah.
And I always knew it was going to be a challenge. I probably just didn't realise the challenge until I was in it. But I'm quite glad I didn't know that because it might have felt a bit too scary to do. But it's similar to when I qualified as a lawyer, it's a long journey. It's like 7-8 years. And if you actually think about how long it's going to take, I think a lot of people will be put off and they'll think, I'm not going to do it. Actually, it's better to just keep going. And it's like one step at a time. And before you know it, you're kind of there. So you just have to like push forward. Yeah.
What's the age limit for your industry to work over here?
In terms of,
because I know there's a minimum age in some schools. Like you can't be under the age of 24.
Oh, I didn't know
especially
that.
the company that I work for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's an age limit.
Oh, actually,
and also they don't employ anyone over the age of 50. So if you are turning 50 and you're still in the same school, then that's fine. Stay there until you're ready to go. But a lot of schools will hesitate to take you after the age of 50.
Okay.
But as a 20-year-old, you wouldn't be able to step into some of the schools.
Oh, okay.
Because you'd be considered too young.
Okay, so I think that must be like an internal policy thing. Interesting. I actually didn't know that. That's the first time I know that. I feel like in my industry, there's not kind of an age limit, but the youngest you would qualify in the UK, say you did all the steps really quickly and you got all the opportunities straight away, I think the youngest you could probably qualify would be like 24 anyway. I think it would be a big jump to be 24 and come into this role. I think you'd be very overwhelmed. But the youngest you could kind of qualify is like 24. I think the average age to qualify as a lawyer now is like maybe 30 or something. I qualified at like 26. Most of the lawyers I meet do tend to be a bit older than me. They're more kind of like 30s, 40s, 50s. So I don't really see many lawyers kind of my age. But then given the big challenge that it was, given how challenging it was, I can understand why you'd want a bit more experience before like making that jump. I think
a lot of people, they go into law, they get the qualification and then they don't actually want to go into the field. Because I have a lot of students and my niece is qualified in law, that doesn't want to do it anymore. And
really?
It's such a shame. And I think that's why work experience is so important. Before you then jump into going into that profession, spending all that money, spending all that time studying. And I had another teacher that I had on one of my live events. She's a qualified lawyer, but she went into education. So her passion was more for education than it was for the field of law. Like I spoke to you before, like if I had to retrain, I definitely would do property law. I would. But then that wasn't introduced to me as a teenager because I then went off to a performing arts school. And that, actually music law was a qualification they introduced quite late. Once I was like a year before leaving, they introduced it as a new course. They piloted the course. They didn't run with it in the end. But I definitely feel that if I was educated a little bit more with more of a diverse curriculum in my school, I probably would have gone down the road of property law if I'd known about it.
Well, it's never too late.
I don't know about that. You're telling me 7 years. Right about now, I'm planning retirement. I don't know. But I have looked into it, but it's about 10,000. And I'm not too sure how. It's quite expensive, and I'm not too sure how long that would take. Yeah. And if I could juggle it alongside.
Yeah, I think I think it's been worth it, but it's not an easy. I think you've really got to be in it for the long run, because it's not kind of I'll shout today and do it. No, like not at all. And I can see why a lot of people would be put off, especially is rejection after rejection after, like there's a lot of no's before you finally get one yes, and you really have to persevere. But I still think if it's like what you want to do, I feel like you should go for it. Yeah. So maybe
I don't know. That's why I always get really I'm really inspired because I met you coming off the plane, right? So obviously when you see somebody that looks like they're coming from the same place as you, I was like, no, I'm going to ask this young lady where she's from. And like, if you actually live in Qatar, and then we exchanged numbers. And then when you said you're a lawyer, I was like, oh, I haven't met a lawyer here yet. So it was really inspirational, and you're young, and it's just like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Oh, thank you.
You know, and you're very mature.
Oh, thank you.
Because like I was saying to people here, do not worry about people's age groups, because you really have to get rid of that. I mean, you can be friends with somebody who's 50. Agreed, you might have a friend that's 24. And my friendship groups, the age range is so diverse. But when we're out and we're having a good time, there's hardly any difference.
Totally agree.
At all. I probably revert back to being a 25-year-old and actually quite like that. I've got younger friends, you know, but everybody's very similar. You know, so it was cool meeting you.
Yeah, you too. I feel exactly the same, actually. I feel like in the UK, all my friends are probably like similar age. And now since I moved here, everyone's a completely different age. And it feels like, it doesn't feel like there's kind of this like gap. So I think it's definitely an expat thing. Which is nice though, because you might not have met those people if obviously you have never moved abroad.
Definitely. So what sacrifices do you think you've had to make coming out here?
Sacrifices. Probably just being in constant like communication with my friends. I know you still have like WhatsApp, and you know you can like speak to people on video and stuff, but I think in the beginning it was kind of, you know, usually at home I'd be like, hey, you free, like let's go for a coffee, or let's do this, let's do that, and I kind of have to sacrifice. I don't have that convenience, and obviously I've made new friends now and like stuff, and they're all really lovely, but I kind of had to sacrifice that in the beginning. I think what I found quite tough is I'm definitely getting to the age where friends are having kids and stuff. And I'm like missing their baby showers. I'm like, oh, that's sad. Or like they'll have their babies and then I'll meet them, and then next time I see them, they're like crawling and walking, and I'm like, oh, I've missed that time. So I feel like that is definitely, it is, that's a sad part. But then on the flip side, there's so many benefits to being here. You meet all these new people, you can advance in your career, you're now closer to maybe another side of the world, and you get to travel, you get to see all these different things. So I feel like it was also, another sacrifice was probably, I guess the industry I was in was more like music, TV, and I kind of didn't know anything about this industry, but I knew that type of role wasn't really out here, or when I was searching, it wasn't really out here. So I kind of did have to leave that behind and kind of, you know, explore and like try something new if I wanted to kind of be sort of over here. So it was a bit of a trade-off to how badly did I want to kind of live abroad, or was I so desperate to kind of like keep on this journey and accept that I probably was never going to be able to move. I understand what you mean. And like even my goddaughters, and obviously other family members as well, and then you get back and you feel like you've missed out on so much. You know, like even I was sitting down, I took my goddaughters out and for a meal, and my goddaughter was like, oh yeah, I got my driving lesson. I said, excuse me? I said, when did you start? And I was really upset. I said, no, because your mum knows that if there's any first experiences that I have to get a video call or a picture, and I'm not messing around about that. Like seriously, even when she had her graduation, they video called me when she was getting ready, when she was getting in the car. So it kind of felt like I was there. And I just say to the girls, like, I really feel like I'm missing out. And they're like, no, auntie, you're not, you know. But I understand, I sympathise with that. And I think with everybody who makes a decision to come out here, there is a sacrifice. Yeah, there is.
There is. And there's things that you have to miss out on. If, you know, sometimes, I know you've been to a few weddings. You know.
I've had to like fly back for a few weddings, and I've loved doing that. But again, say there was 6 weddings in a year, I probably wouldn't be able to kind of make all of them. So I'm telling my friends, don't all get engaged at the same time, because I won't be able to come to every single one. But it's always nice to go back. But when I go back, I don't feel like, I want to move back here. I feel like this has been really nice. I've missed everyone. It's been really lovely. But, you know, I'm excited to still go back to Doha, and I'll still miss you when I'm there, but I'll be back again and we'll have like a nice time. So yeah, I think that just comes with, I guess you've settled here and you kind of like enjoy your life here.
And you get to appreciate the time that you spend with your friends and loved ones when you're home as well, because you know the time is very limited. It makes you appreciate. I get you. I do get you. Yeah. Okay, so you've been out here for just over a year.
Yeah.
And you'd be so surprised of how many teachers that I meet in some of the networking events that I host. And some of the teachers talk about passions to write a book or to explore something that they have put to sleep many years before. And you know, life just gets, you just could get caught up in life. You get caught up in work, you get caught up in family, and that dream is put on pause. And you've been there for a year and a half, and you have plug, you have written your book.
I know.
So Wide Weekends and what came after.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to talk a little bit about, because I have been reading it.
I have you? Okay.
I have. So in terms of like, when you think about your journey of wanting to write this book, how long did it take you, and what was your inspiration to turn your story into a published book?
So it took me it's probably been about 18 months, I think, from the very start to kind of like publishing and having the physical copy, which still feels weird that it's there. I'm still like, I can't believe I've written this much. But yeah, it took me about 18 months. It was very start-stop because I was juggling that with work. So it was kind of whenever I had a bit of free time, or whenever you kind of have like the days off between Christmas and New Year, I'd be like, right, I'll just kind of write. And then obviously I moved, so I didn't pick it up for ages. And then what kind of motivated me to write it? I just had all these ridiculous dating stories, which many other women also have. And I just kind of thought, I've always kind of been interested in writing. Like I had a blog like a while back, and I just started, you know, one day I thought, oh, let me just, you know, start like writing. This might be a blog, like I don't know. And I kind of was just enjoying it. And then the more I wrote, I thought actually I could turn this into a book. And then I kind of just put my mind to it, and here we are. We have this like finished project. But I think I also felt like a lot of women were going to be able to sympathise with, you know, what you go through when you're kind of like a young woman, like dating, and then also the friendship side and how like strong female friendships are. And I kind of just wanted to document that and put something together that other women will be able to relate to. Yeah. And here we are.
One of the questions I wrote down was, how do you navigate that balance between privacy and honesty?
Yeah.
So especially as a professional woman in Qatar, because I think there's some things that we feel like, oh, we're in Qatar, it's a Muslim country, we can't talk about that, you know, especially publicly. But there are like, come on, this is a life. We've all got real experiences.
This is the thing. And I kind of had to lean on your second point where you said this is life, we've all got real experiences, because I think when I started writing, I was being quite conservative. And I kind of had to let go of that a little bit to kind of put something together that was more like authentic and more me. So I kind of, part of myself, I partly did have to detach myself from, I've got this, you know, high flying career and like, I can't say this, can't say that. And just actually write, you know, from the heart. And eventually when you edit and you strip it back, you might take out like certain bits or whatever, but actually I've tried to make it as raw as possible, because the reality is that in the corporate world, they're still normal people. Exactly. They all still, you know, they all still date, they still, you know, they get married and like they still love to have a drink and stuff. Like that's the reality of the situation. And there's not one corporate person that's looked at my book and gone, oh, everyone's been like, oh, I want to read it, I want to do this, I want to do that. So I kind of had to kind of detach myself from the stereotype that you need to be so serious. Actually, it's fine.
And also the discipline as well, finding that time, not, you know, saying no to a few you know, brunches or evenings out, because you've really got to commit to this deadline. I think it's really important. I think people underestimate when you actually fulfill deadlines and how your brain gets used to that practice for you to then conquer the next challenge. I think it's so don't underestimate how special and important completing a book is, especially being a full-time lawyer.
Thank you very
in
much.
Your second year in a new country, like come on, seriously.
I kind of forget that like I've done it, to be honest, but I think that probably feeds into, I think lawyers are quite organized anyway. So I probably found it easy to say, right, 3 hours, I need to do this and do that. And also going back to law school. So you do your law degree, then after that you do something called the LPC. I think it's now changed now. But anyway, when I was doing the LPC, I worked full time and I studied part time, which was on weekends. And then I did the work for law school in the evenings. then my boyfriend at the time lived like 4 hours away, so I was like traveling there, so everything was kind of, there was not room for error. So I feel like that's also probably helped my mind be able to say, actually, I've got this project and I need to carve this time out and like be disciplined about it. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
You've done it. Okay, so we've got this thing in Qatar called Single in Doha.
Is that the Facebook page?
Nah, this is just a phrase that people use. In other words, you meet people that say they're single.
But they're married back home.
Single in Doha, but not single elsewhere.
Yeah, I have heard about this.
So in terms of like, how do you navigate like dating out here? And, you know, because everybody wants to meet that special person. And ideally you want to meet them in this country.
Yeah.
Ideally, maybe not. I know, it depends on what your plans are in terms of where you choose to live in the future. If you want to go home, then it gets a little bit trickier. But have you found navigating? I mean, are we going to get a part 2 with dating in Qatar?
Oh, there's definitely a part 2. I think dating in Qatar is part 3, unfortunately, because there's still stuff in part 2 that I need to cover. But yeah, it is difficult. So that whole single here, I didn't know was a thing until I moved here, and everyone says, oh, there's a lot of people that have partners at home, but they're like single here. And I was like, come on, you've got to be joking. Everyone's like, no, like that's like real. I think, oh goodness me, I kind of came and thought, oh, maybe there'll be someone here. Now I have to think of the extra thing, do they have a partner or not? But since I've been here, I think I'm a lot more how do I word it? I was quite naive, as you always are when in your early 20s, and I kind of talk about that in the book, but I'm less naive now, so I kind of am able to like maybe suss like certain things out. I don't waste my time, whereas before I'd be like, oh, maybe give him a chance, and I'm a bit more ruthless now. So I'm a bit more like kind of like ruthless because I'm busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So I haven't really dated lots and lots. There's been a few dates, still no husband, so I guess it didn't work out. There's, I don't know. My friend in Australia says it's a global issue because we were best friends in the UK. She's now moved there and she's like, it's the same. I'm over here. The first thing, you know, when I got here, the women were like, so I'm starting to think if you find a good guy, you just find a good guy. I don't think there's a particular place that there's, you know, but it's tough.
Because I guess it's the same in the UK. It'll be the same challenges.
So I think anywhere you go, it's the same challenges, unfortunately.
I think, you know, it is here. I think because we feel like we're on a constant holiday. So I think when you meet somebody, it feels almost like a holiday romance, and it feels like when it doesn't go right, it's like someone's popped this massive bubble, and it almost makes it harder for you to overcome it here, because you can't just run to your best friend's house down the road and say, or go and see mum, you know. So here you really have to navigate these emotions, and it's harder, you know. But I've heard all the stories, like it was enough to put you off.
Oh really? They're worse than what's in the book?
It's enough to, well, I haven't gone through all of it, but
I thought I've seen it all, so this is okay.
No, I read. Listen, when was it? I think it was last week. Like if I had a camera in my room, the way I was talking to myself while reading about Mr. America.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, I was cussing. I was like, how dare he?
The audacity.
Can I speak a little bit about that without giving too much away? So you've gone. This guy that you've met on the street, and he's taken 2 months to get back to you.
But this is the first sign. Like, I think if you took 2 months to get back to me now, you're already in the WhatsApp graveyard. Like, I wouldn't even have but when you're younger, like, oh, okay, like maybe he was busy. But anyway, but carry on. So in that time, you kind of romanticize about this person. You make up all these narratives in your head, and then you get to meet him, and he's late. So he doesn't apologize for being late. No.
And then he gets in front of you in the line to order. Listen, girl, I would have turned around and gone back in my car. Seriously. I was reading it like, he did what?
I know.
I was so upset. I was upset. Because I can see myself there, and I can see myself reacting by doing a U-turn. By the time my man taps his card and turns around, I'm gone. I'm gone.
But me now would be quite similar to that.
But it's lessons, because you also as well, you need people to show you who they really are.
There we go.
And sometimes you have to be still and silent. Let them play out the scenario, so you see enough of their personality for you to say, I will never call this person back again. They show me enough to not even think, well, maybe. No. So you sit down and you order your food, and you both sit down together and you have conversations, and then he reveals that he's actually really not doing much of his life. He smokes
all
the illegal substances,
yeah.
and just not doing anything, which is completely different to who you are.
Yeah, very.
You know? And then on top of that, then he asked you to give him a lift back
Yeah, he asked me to
home.
give me a lift. Before that, he'd said, I think he said I look like I'm spoiled or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then, he asked me to then, he was like, oh, we should do this again. Like, as if we weren't on the same date. Like, what? I don't know. You were on a different date to me if you think that we're... Anyway, so that was him. But again, you kind of have to go through these experiences to know how people can be and what you like, what you don't like. So yeah, that was Mr.
So I was
American.
really upset about that. I was like, girl, you must get in your... So I was so glad when you said, nope, you better get a bus or something like that.
Not.
I said,
you
you
can
put
get
your
a
foot on
bus.
that gas and you keep it moving.
Yeah.
And do not even look back in your window, your mirror,
Definitely
nothing. Just
not.
keep it moving.
Just a waste of time.
Oh, it's hard work.
It is very... I've got grey hair. It's very hard work. It is.
Oh my goodness. So hopefully you will find your Mr. Right here.
Yeah, you know what? I think that when I was a bit younger, like early 20s, I kind of had these like timelines: need to be married, have kids, all by this like time, as if the world was gonna like combust if it all like didn't happen.
And also as well, your family are from
Nigeria.
Yes,
I think there's that
more
cultural pressure as well.
Yeah.
But actually, I've now just like let go of that. And of course, I still want all those things, but things are just going to happen whenever like it's the right time for them to happen. And I think that's a better, approach to have. Otherwise, you might end up with the wrong person because you're kind of... it needs to be this way, needs to be that way. So yeah, I'd like to meet someone. That could be when I step out the front door now. That could be 6 months. That could be 6 years.
The person you're going to see when you step out the door and the driver.
So maybe it's not them, but they might know someone. So it could be like soon. It could be like a few years. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see when that happens. But I couldn't in my mind tell you when I think it's going to happen or whatever. And I think I've kind of let go of the pressure that maybe I used to put on myself, that if it's not happened by this day, I'm going to be expired. It's not the case.
I definitely would say that through my own experiences, I think that when you meet somebody who you really fall in love with, they say when you get married you must die to yourself. So whatever you thought you were and who you knew you were before marriage, that's not the same person that walks into marriage. Because there's lots of things that we can be quite selfish. When you're single, it's all about you.
Absolutely.
But when you meet somebody, you are sharing your life with that person. So it's not, decisions cannot be made by yourself. And you get to learn a lot about the areas about your life that has not been healed. So you have to do a lot of work on yourself. So I always think to myself that, meeting the right person, am I completely ready to die to myself? Am I completely ready to also be vulnerable with that person? And to trust that person. And I definitely feel that one of my areas that I need is safety and security. I need to feel safe. And if I don't feel safe and I don't feel secure, then it's very hard to fully commit.
I completely agree.
So in terms of your experiences of your early years of dating, and obviously the part 2 will come out where it's the latter stage of your life and experiences. What do you think you've learned about yourself through these relationships or dating experiences? Actually,
exactly what you've kind of just said, that you need to kind of learn about yourself enough before you're really able to kind of commit yourself to a relationship. And I think when you're kind of dating in the beginning, I don't really think you know yourself. And when you spend time on your own, you kind of learn more about yourself, and you know what you like, what you don't like, what your boundaries are, what kind of triggers you, where you still need to do some work. And I think that only comes maybe with age, experience, and also just having the time like away from, dating and having a partner. So I think I've done a lot of growth in the last 5-6 years. And that's why I think the version of me now that would, go into the dating scene is very different to the version probably like 5-6 years ago. And the things I cared about 5-6 years ago, I want to go to this restaurant. I don't really care about that now. I'd still like someone to book and make a plan, but it doesn't need to be the fanciest place on the tallest rooftop or like effort. Whatever. Yeah, just make the effort and just be thoughtful. Like, oh, you said you like this, so like I thought about like this thing, and that is more important to me. Whereas I think when you're a bit younger, everything that's kind of shiny is, that's kind of like where you want to go. So yeah, I feel like I'm in a much better position within myself now compared to maybe where I was, say, 5 years ago. And so this is a much better time to meet someone that's I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with, that isn't married.
Listen, and that's the funny thing is as well, it's like as much as you can ask all the right questions,
they can still lie.
There's still more questions. They can still lie. And I think even if someone says they're divorced, ask them for proof of some sort of, documentation.
I've been there. That'll be a book too.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Goodness.
And then when they start stuttering, you think,
it's
not the truth.
Yeah. Because I think sometimes you want to think and believe that people think the way you think and they have the same values as you have, and it's just never not the case. It's not. And that's why finding that person that is going to be your life partner is one of the hardest things that you will make a decision about.
Absolutely.
Because that person that you choose can make or break you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that I feel everyone should hold off to meet that right person. I don't think you should settle for the wrong one, but I feel like who you marry is the most important decision you're ever going to make. So
can I ask you, how do you know when you're settling?
Because I just think you're not happy, you're not excited to talk about that person. You're just like, that's okay.
Do you believe in the intuition that women have?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
100%. But I think there's people that are probably like, oh, he doesn't go out and cheat, so like it's fine. But that shouldn't be the standard. You should feel excited, you should feel happy. But I'm also like a bit of a romantic, and some people might say, oh, that's not realistic, but in my world I'm like, it's still realistic. But I might be 70 going, he's coming for me somewhere, and still haven't not met him, but I think I will.
No, you will.
But I feel like there's obviously people that are kind of like, oh, as long as he has the good job and isn't out talking to other women, that's fine. But actually there's a lot more to do you connect on a deeper level? Like, do you kind of like understand each other? Can you communicate? But I don't know if everyone really cares about that much depth, or if they're just like, it's just fine.
Gosh, it's quite scary.
But
then at the same time, it's like, it's what is right for them. It doesn't have to be right. Their situation is not yours.
It's not mine.
It's just what you require in your person that you're going to meet. And your happiness. What are your compromises? Because I know, like, when we're younger, we're like, he needs to be this tall, he needs to look like this, he needs to have this job. And as you get older, you're like, okay, God, move that. It can be 5'9", 5'10". He can earn between this amount. So, obviously now it's like you're looking more about the personality and values, core values of that person more than anything. And what do you think your compromises are now?
This is really funny, because I envision all my friend looking at me going, she doesn't compromise, but I do. Yeah, no. I think so. Compromise would be, I don't know. Where do you compromise?
The height thing I can compromise on.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you're not shorter than me, I can compromise on that. I can tell you what I'm not going to compromise on.
I'm good at that. I can tell you that
I think now I definitely think faith.
Oh, really? Okay, fine. Okay.
I think for now it's kind of like, if you are not the same faith as me, I would probably find it harder. And the reason why I say that is because I feel that the values that my faith holds and the way that it looks at marriage and the support group that can come from other Christian couples or marriage couples, I feel that is really important for the support network. I also feel that grace is important, learning to forgive people. And praying over each other and praying with each other, I think is really important. And I say that even more so now, is because of all of the distractions that men have and women. And I feel like if you're not praying with each other and you're not praying over each other, how on earth do you avoid these distractions that will naturally come to try and separate your relationship? So I feel grace is really important, learning to forgive, learning to be kind, learning to be still, learning to be patient, and learning to be calm. So a calm temperament is really important for me.
I absolutely agree.
If you're someone who shouts and argues, I will just cave in. And it doesn't make me feel safe.
I agree.
And it doesn't give me security.
And that's very different from my personality. And I think when you see people when they have a drink and they're a bit more rowdy, that's very different from how I am. I think personality traits, there's probably not that many things I could compromise, but the compromise would be maybe the aesthetic. Oh, everyone has a type, but you might see someone else, they might not be what you thought your type was, but actually you still find them really attractive. But for me, the personality is like, they just need to be this kind person, not kind of have this ulterior motive. The lying is just an absolute no. The lying is just a complete no. I want someone who's ambitious as well, because I feel like I'm quite ambitious. Want someone who likes to travel, just someone who is very kind of like open, friendly. I feel like it doesn't seem like it's that much to ask for. Yeah. It doesn't seem it's that much to ask for, but I think to have someone that's serious is quite difficult. Yeah, I think someone who needs to be like serious about you and serious about where they want to go. Yeah. Which is tough.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree. Definitely. There's lots of things that you've touched on. I think we're quite similar with that. Because I feel like when you spoke about personality being really important, like you can meet somebody that's not your type, but if their personality is like, it can blow you
absolutely
away. And if they're not, you know what it is, I don't think we also like put enough emphasis on being normal.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Like, you know, like meeting someone who is normal. And again, it's like, what is your normal?
Yeah.
And I think somebody just doesn't take life too seriously. And doesn't over analyze every conversation, everything that you say, and calmness. Please give me calmness.
I know. And just the peace. Like, I don't want the arguing. Of course, you will always have like, you know, one or two fallouts, like fine. But this kind of reactive environment where there's shouting, it's just not gonna like work for me. The messaging other girls, the Instagram. Oh, I don't have the time. Like, it's just that chaos is just I'd rather just not have the man.
How do you feel about also dating somebody and you follow them on Instagram?
I don't really like, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. But I know there's a lot of like, oh, I went through his following and I saw this, I saw that. I'm busy.
Yeah.
I've not been through your following. I'm just like this, like, no. Yeah, like all those little oh no.
For me, it's weird one, because I think if I don't already follow you, and then we meet, and then I will be like, I don't want to follow you on Instagram.
Oh really?
Yeah,
would it bother
I'm just
you?
not interested.
Oh, okay, fine. I actually would be bothered. Why?
I don't want, and maybe I should be more like, no, give me your Instagram. I want to see what you post that you like. I want to see how you comment on people's pages. I probably am not quite ready for that.
Oh, okay. See, I feel like I'd follow, but I wouldn't even think that this is a thing.
Yeah.
But if they were quite like, oh, I don't want you to follow me, then I'd think, well, what are you hiding?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but actually I wouldn't even think it was like a thing. I'd probably be like, oh, I saw this funny reel like here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it was a thing.
How life has changed.
Yeah.
You know, now that we're like basing relationships on that, if they post you or, you know, things that they comment and follow your friends and their friends are following them, you know, it's just like, I think it's just healthy boundaries.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't want them to post you, or you would?
No, I don't mind that. As long as I know that we both have an agreement that is exclusive and both committed to each other, I don't mind.
But I think by that point you would.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But I think that, I don't know, I'm just funny about this whole thing about following people on Instagram. It's
but
weird.
I'm not even following someone else?
No, you following them when you meet them and you exchange your Instagram.
Yeah, you'd rather not.
Yeah. I think, do you know what it is? Because I want to be able to post authentically.
Yeah.
I want
they're going to get to know you anyway.
I know, and I want to be able to like the post. If I see a Morris Chestnut post, I want to like and comment.
Oh no, but that's fine. That's okay.
But some people would be like, nah.
Oh no, but
because then you've got to be okay with them doing it, and I'm not.
Oh, you're not? No. Okay. Oh, see, so I feel like I'm fine if it's like it was like a celeb, like they're liking a photo. That's fine. I probably wouldn't even like notice. But if it's like all the girls that live down the road and you're following then I've got a problem. But the celeb thing, I'd probably like it too. Be like, she looks great. I'm all right.
Maybe
with
I'm not this mature, social media mature
yet. I feel like I'm fine with that. But you've really made me think now. Maybe I've just been out of it for so long.
No, if you're cool with it, it's just a thing. I just have a thing about it. It's just a weird thing. You know, so because it's something that we've never had to. I'm older than you, so when I was dating in your age range, we didn't have Instagram. Didn't exist. So now it's like we're navigating through social media and trying to date at the same time, and people get into arguments over social media posts. How the world has changed through social media.
Much,
God help us.
Maybe I'll meet a man that doesn't have it.
Yeah,
maybe stop all the problems.
Oh my goodness. So looking back now, you've been here for a year and a half.
Yeah.
How do you think Qatar has shaped who you are in terms of your career and your confidence?
Much more resilient than I was, just through, you know, you've moved such a long way from home on your own. You've had to navigate the working environment. You've had to learn a lot of new things. I feel like I can do anything now, and I'm a lot more resilient compared to I was, which I think compared to where I was like over a year ago. So I think that's the first positive. Career-wise, I've learned so much in the last year, probably because maybe the process hasn't been as rigid as, say, the UK. So I've had a lot of like flexibility within my role. So yeah, I've grown like massively. I think I'm a lot calmer, but I don't know whether that's Qatar anyway, because even though my job's very busy, I think Qatar is a country, it's it's very calm. It's much like slower pace of life. It's not like central London where everyone's like rushing around. So I think my temperament, I mean, I was never really this erratic person, but I'm a lot more peaceful and calm, compared to like how I was. So I feel like it's changed me for the better. And also you realize that things just aren't as big of a deal. Maybe at home something might be a huge deal, but actually it's just not as big of a deal, because I don't know, it's just not as deep as maybe I used to think it was. I don't know if you feel the same.
That's definitely I would say that reflects the culture of Qatar. Qatar is resilient, it's calm, it's peaceful, and it's accepting. And I definitely feel that reflects exactly what you're talking about in terms of how it shaped you. 100%. That's interesting that you say that. Really interesting. It's amazing because it just shows that your environment is really important.
Oh, absolutely. Like to how isn't there that saying that you're like the 5 people that you like spend the most time around? And I like massively believe in that. I feel like your environment is like really, really important. Definitely. Whereas I think if you obviously stay in, I don't know, an environment that isn't a certain way, isn't aligned with you, I feel like you start to become what's around you.
Definitely. I agree with you. I agree. And what message would you give other single women that are looking to, what would you think they can take away from your story that you've been on so far in terms of like your career and writing a book?
Lots of things. What would I say? Career-wise, I'd say just keep going with whatever you're doing, because I think whatever career you have, whether it's law, whether it's anything else, there probably comes a point where you think, am I ever going to get there? Am I ever going to get to the next step? And my advice is just to keep going, even when it feels like it's really difficult, like keep going. I would advise people to like move and like leave their comfort zone, even if that doesn't mean leaving the UK. I feel like to actually just change your environment, you do learn a lot about yourself. So I would advise people to like do that. And if they don't want to relocate, fine, but just travel and like see the world and interact with different people. I feel like that will really just like broaden your knowledge and your horizons. In terms of the book, I feel like if you have a passion project, whether that is writing, whether that's social media, whether that's, anything, again, just like try and find time for that. As busy as you are, just try and carve that time out and think, this is my time to do something that I really care about. And it might seem like a huge mountain, but the more you chip away at something, before you know it, like you'll kind of be at the end. I think to say to someone, you're writing a book seems like this massive thing, but where it's been small pieces, maybe like 1 page here, 5 pages here, like before you know it, you're kind of there and you kind of have it. So just kind of keep going with whatever you're chipping away at.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Crossing Cultures. To hear more about Yvonne's dating experiences, don't forget Wine Weekend and What Came After is out now.
Crossing paths, making change.